Hey guys, I thought maybe I'd take this opportunity and explain a little bit what's going on. The past 48 hours has been pretty bad over here on my end. Um, I mean, there's not an end in sight so far. Excuse me, bear with me, guys. Also had a couple shots of vodka, so I'm not so much of a drinker. So the I made a video and I was talking about how my daughter's in town from Montana, and it's nice to visit with her, but the main reason she was here was to say goodbye to her grandmother. I really if she makes it over to the holiday season this year, I'm going to be pretty amazed that she's made it that far. But as I said before, things are happening fast. So if you don't mind, excuse me, I'm gonna try and run through this pretty fast and just give a little explanation of what happened. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody that responds. I mean, I do get the chance to read everything, and I think in that moment with that ambulance, I just kind of, I guess, was looking for one of those virtual hugs everybody sends me. So that's kind of why I did that. I don't always tell everything that goes on, but this time I will. So let's pick up the story where I said that me and my daughter, we went over to the barbecue joint. Got us some briskets and stuff. My wife and my other daughter. When we came home, we had the fire department in our driveway pretty much. They were pulling out as we were pulling in. And I remember as we pulled up, I'm telling my wife, just one time I want to come home and just like find the police at my house and not the paramedics. And then, my wife saying that it's possibly for, we got an elderly lady down the street in a wheelchair. Oh, maybe that lady fell. So, the fire truck drives off. We pull into the driveway there, and my neighbor comes over to me, and she starts asking me about my mother, what's going on, what's happening. And right away, I'm just like, ah, shit, I guess it was my house that they're here for. So we come in the house, and here's my mother sitting in her chair, with kind of a half-cocked smile on her face, saying some unfunny comment about, boy, it sure's been rough when you guys can't leave me anywhere. What happened, Mom? Well, she says that she got dizzy. She stood up, she got dizzy, and she passed out. And she crawled over to get her phone, and she called 911. Okay, well, why didn't you go with them, Ma? Well, they said I'm okay, my vitals are good, they just helped me get up, and that was the end of it. So, I mean, we're all just kind of in shock. Not that kind of shock, but just kind of the shock of we can't believe this shit's happening. So, my wife's trying to convince her to go to the hospital. And no, no, I'm okay. Everything's fine. I just got a little dizzy. I just have to take care better. You guys need to help me more. Okay. So, a few hours after that incident, my mom's complaining that her ankle hurts. She said that she must have twisted her ankle when she fell. And by this time, I'm kind of questioning things a little bit because, my mom's a large woman. And, not making fun of everybody. I'm, kind of a portly chap myself. When a person the size of my mother falls, it's usually never a pretty sight. And you would think that, a person like that has fallen, maybe there could be some carpet burn on the knees, on the elbow, maybe a red mark or something like. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. There's no marks on her whatsoever, except for the fact that she's saying that she's twisted her ankle. So we wrap the ankle up. Everybody goes to sleep. Next day comes. And when she wakes up, she's complaining a little bit about her ankle, but nothing too severe. And we got her nurses coming over. We had a lot of people come over. It was a pretty busy day. I tore up my pool deck, so we're going to have it repaved. So I'm taking bids to have that done. And, because my mother's items being brought in here from a roach infestation, we had a pest control technician. This is Florida. Everybody has some bugs here or there. I also have a lot of lizards that, I like my lizard population because they eat the bugs. But, if you live in Florida, it's a good idea to periodically have the bug guy come by. So, we set up a couple treatments. Just like I said, my mother's coming from an infestation. And then my mother's got her nurses coming over. And this was one of the stipulations of her living with us, is that she has to have nursing care a couple times a week at least, as much as the insurance company will give us. And me and my wife, we have the one nurse, and we're just trying to explain to her what is happening. And she tells us how we need to get my mother full-time care. And we've heard this before. We've been told this. But she pretty much said that when your mother goes into the emergency room, you have to refuse to pick her up. You have to leave her in a situation where she's homeless, and then the social worker will take over and they will get her placed into one of the facilities. And it's something with Florida and the nursing homes that they're supposed to reserve so many beds per facility for situations like this. And so that's what this nurse tells us. Like I said, we've heard this before. So the other nurse comes over, and this is like a physical therapy nurse. And she wants my mom to start doing some physical therapy. And My mother's absolutely refusing. And, from where she seemed to be just fine all day, I mean, complaining a little bit that her ankle hurts her. And, was swelling up, but she's still refusing to go to the hospital. Um, she is absolutely furious that this nurse is going to make her do any kind of exercise. And it was one of those situations where, like, there was a video that Ollie was talking about where a girl is caring for her grandmother, and when her grandmother doesn't like something, she just shits all over herself. Well, this is kind of what my mother did, but only she didn't shit all over herself. She started hyperventilating herself, and then all of a sudden her ankle is so bad that she can't walk on it, and it's just horrible. And she pretty much kicked the nurse out. And she's sitting on our couch, and she's just like in like a full-blown panic attack. She's hyperventilating. She can't, every time she tries to just like move her whole leg, she is like bellowing, screaming through the house. And now this has the attention of my daughter now. What's wrong with Tita? What's happening? And this, we did not want this. So we pretty much forced my mother. I mean, you're going to the hospital. You don't have a choice. And we loaded her up on her little wheeled walker and got her out the door. And and she stood up and she got in the car and off to the hospital she went. And a few hours later, we get a call. She said she broke her ankle. They're going to put a soft cast on her, write her a prescription for a wheelchair, and send her home. Now, this is where the situation starts to get ugly. I said, well, Mom, we're not coming to pick you up. This is not the place for you. We're not trying to throw you out. But right now, you can't stand up and walk through the house without complaining that you're going to pass out. Without actually passing out and having to have 911 come over here to the house and help you up. This is turning into a dangerous situation. And now that you're telling me that your ankle is broken and they're going to send you home with a prescription for a wheelchair, my house is not equipped for a wheelchair. She's not going to be able to fit the wheelchair through any of the doors. Even in her room, my master bedroom, mine and my wife's sanctuary that we gave up for her, she's not going to be able to fit the wheelchair through the door to go to the bathroom. I'm like, Mom, I cannot pick you up. My mom is probably close to a 300-pound woman. There ain't no way in hell with my back, even when I was healthy, I'm not gonna throw a 300-pound woman over my shoulder and carry her to the facilities. I'm sorry, guys, I'm tired. My mother is not understanding this. My mother is looking at it like, she is just being abandoned. She is being thrown out. We are horrible people. She's cursing at me over the phone through her teeth. You motherfucker, you. Just horrible. And me and my wife we're not coming to get you. You're going to have to stay the night at the hospital. The hospital is going to have to call in a social worker, and they're going to have to place you. I know you think bad of us for this, but in the long run, it's going to be good for you because we cannot care for you. Especially with the way that we work. We can't. We can do our best. We can bring her drinks. We can make her food. I can wrap up her leg. I can wrap up a wound. I can help her with her medicine. I could do things like that, but I can't carry somebody in and out of the bathroom. I can't wipe my mother's ass. I can't put my mother in the shower. I can't do those things. And I don't want to do it. Sorry, a phone call came through. I forgot to put this thing on airplane mode. So, anyway, I gotta kind of shorten this up, guys. I'm running long on this. So anyway, she pretty much spent the whole night in the hospital. A good part of the day. At 7 o'clock in the morning, I was woke up by a call from one of the nicer rehab nursing facilities. And they told me that, we need to bring down my mother's financial information, any kind of properties or anything like that she has, bring it over there so that they can fill out Medicaid paperwork and get her admitted for long-term care. So we're on that immediately. And my wife goes down with them people and she fills out all the paperwork, and they are like ready. Okay, we're gonna call the hospital and have her transported here. Oh, wait a minute, what's this say? Your mother's married? My mother never divorced her husband. My mother, and even I didn't even think of this, the absolute greed that is my mother, didn't want to divorce this guy because she wanted him to die. Because if he died, she would get more money on her Social Security. This is my mother. This is the reality. So my mother never divorced him. And it's not up to me to keep up with things like that. I had a marriage that didn't work out. I got divorced. I took care of my responsibility. My mother didn't take care of her responsibility. Yet again. So now that they know that she's married, her application's denied. She's got to get all the financial information from her husband, and now it's starting to get ugly again. My wife went over to the hospital because now the Department of Children and Families is involved. And I guess my wife said the wrong thing, because they were in a situation where they thought that my mother was homeless, and they were going to start the process to have her placed somewhere. But since your daughter-in-law is here, we're going to go ahead and release you into her care. Okay. The social worker backed up what the nurse said, that we pretty much have to let her go into the hospital, and we have to just leave her there. Turn your phone off. Don't let her call you. Let her go as a homeless person. So my wife, through doing some research, she had this facility that was going to take her. It was going to cost her entire Social Security check, but it was going to cover all of her basic needs. And my mother was here at my house, and my wife was finishing up the over-the-phone application processes for this other place, and then all of a sudden my mother went into a hyperventilation attack again and collapsed and crying, I can't do this anymore, my son, I can't do this anymore, I give up. And So that's why we had the ambulance at my house again. And she's over at the emergency room now. You know, sometimes you can want to do things and have the best of intentions of why that you're doing it. But sometimes what you want to do and what you need to do and what actually should be done are just very different things. And that's kind of what's happening to us. I guess we had the best of intentions on what we were doing. But my mother's just not that type of person, I guess, to be able to do something like that. You know, it's one thing to invite a guest into your house and tell them to help themselves to some iced tea. My mother's the type of person that'll grab the iced tea jug, dump it all over the floor, take a crap on your floor, kick your dog, and just take full advantage of the situation. And listen, for the poor mama people out there, listen, I've been wrestling with this for a long time, man. And you just never know until you don't even have to walk a mile in my shoes. Just walk a couple feet in my shoes. I've actually been breaking down over the past 48 hours. I'm not sleeping. I really do need a mental break. So, let me reiterate. I would not recommend anybody out there doing what I'm doing or doing what I tried to do. By all means, when you have people like this in your life, especially ones from the cluster Bs, your narcissists, your histrionics, your borderline, get these people out of your life and don't look back, because you're only going to damage yourself further. This is exactly what I was doing. I take full responsibility for everything that I've done. I was trying to not even so much do right for my mother, but just do right as a human being. And, you know, I just kind of got walked on again. So, that's what I recommend. But I think it's also important to be true to who you are. And just try and be strong and do everything that you can, but know when it's time to get out and let the situation go. That's all. So that's what's going on over here. And you know, I appreciate anybody that's been commenting and sending me the well wishes and the hugs and all that. And I think I kind of really needed to lean on that today. That's why I made that little 30-second video. I wanted to say more, but I thought I was just going to end up breaking down right on the camera, so anyway. Do what you can to take care of yourself, guys. Don't let these people walk on us. Life's too short.